Right now, we are investing in the future, and this is one of the first fruit-bearing trees that we're planting on our new property. Because with everything that's happening currently in 2021, you can see that we're in the acceleration towards possible disaster. So in this video, let's talk about what's been going on so far this year that shows us things aren't going to just magically get better anytime soon. Hey everybody, it's Magic Prepper, and today we're going to talk about everything that's been happening in 2021 so far and why we need to prepare for it and do the best we can to be self-sustainable as soon as possible. This is one of the first fruit-bearing trees here on the property. It's a plum tree. We're going to start doing more gardening and putting more items into place that are going to help us be more self-sustainable for the long term due to the fact that we can't rely on everything that's going on around the world right now. It's unreliable. The entire supply chain and the system attached to it is not working properly. So you have to position yourself and do what you need to do to get ready to be able to take care of yourself on your own without the reliance on all those other systems that have been put into place, okay? And if you're trying to do your best to be prepared for these things to eventually fall apart, then hit the subscribe button below. That way we can keep talking about it and try to be as well prepared as possible together. And that's what we're doing here, and that's why you'll see more and more of the property as we keep trying to be better, more self-sustained people when it comes to taking care of ourselves, okay? So first off, the mass shortages should alert everybody to the idea that the supply chain is not working in your favor, and in fact, it's mostly broken in many ways, okay? The shortages go everything from ammo to microchips to lumber to fuel. You can see it all across the board. There's a lot of different commodities out there that are no longer available or extremely expensive, and the inflation on those items is going to continually rise and go through the roof. So just keep that in mind, because these things aren't going to just go back to the prices they used to be and the supply that there used to be anytime soon. This is a huge indicator for us to see that things are on a downward path, and we have to try to maintain our ability to rise above that if possible, okay? Another thing that you have to keep in mind is that just in 2021 so far, we've had the supply chain disruptions that have proven to us that the entire system is very fragile. Think of the Suez Canal situation. That was one boat in one waterway that caused a huge global disruption just because of somebody's mistake. So, of course, there's theories about why that mistake possibly occurred, but either way, that is another example as to why you need to be better prepared and understand that the reliance on these systems is not what you want it to be. SHTF is definitely looking like it's more and more possible every day with all of these little accelerants that keep pushing us more and more towards the edge of the cliff. And it's not just one big thing that's going to send us over. It's going to be a lot of buildup from all these smaller things that eventually combine to be a big event. So keep that in mind, okay? Another thing is the financial instability we've all been experiencing in this year. In 2021 alone, just think of something as simple as the GameStop situation when it comes to the stock market, or what's happening to cryptocurrencies right now. The financial instability is all over the place, and the US dollar is down anywhere from 10 to 12% this year over last year, which should definitely concern you, because if that loses value, it makes everything else more expensive and harder to acquire. And here we are in the middle of an economic crisis where you can see the financial instability of the system from every example you can think of. So keep that in mind, because it's another indicator of where we are, and it's something else you need to be aware of, okay? Conflict is definitely a possibility. We've seen all the issues between China, Taiwan, we've seen the issues with Russia and cyber attacks, and we've seen the issues with the Middle East right now with Israel and the whole Palestine situation, and it's turning into a big problem, and things are going to continually escalate, and if these conflicts don't resolve, we're going to find ourselves in a real SHTF scenario. So that is also a problem we're seeing here in 2021 that is not resolving. It's continually getting worse. And not to mention, when you talk about conflict, you also have to talk about everything else going on the global stage and the way that foreign actors are using cyber attacks to shut down our infrastructure and shut down our supply lines and make it more difficult for us to maintain our quality of life in the modern society we have right now. All those things combined create a very serious situation for anybody who's solely reliant on the grid, and that is a huge problem for most people in urban environments, which is where the giant population centers are. So another issue that 2021 has shown us is very vulnerable, okay? Now, the only thing else we're going to talk about is going to be Well, civil unrest, which we know has a propensity to escalate, and the government right now is telegraphing to us saying that this summer is going to be worse and things are going to be more violent in cities and more chaotic than they even were last year. And whether or not that's going to be true, that's what they're telling us, so you should expect it to at least be a possibility. And that's a big issue that we're having, at least here in this country, as well as around the world in many other countries, either due to things like lockdowns or due to things like social justice or whatever else the other thing that they want to be upset about is going to be. People are going to see more and more unrest, mostly due to the economic implications of this year. So unemployment and people not having disposable income or not having a roof over their head is going to lead to unrest, especially if there's an issue with the food supply. But we also have natural disasters. Think about the Texas winter ice storm that already occurred, that put a lot of people into the mindset of needing to be better prepared, but it also showed a lot of people how unprepared they were. And a lot of people suffered and some people passed away due to that storm. And more natural disasters are on the way because they always are. They will always happen. So another thing that we have to pay attention to that 2021 is just showing us is going to happen no matter what we do. And then there's always the lingering possibility of the pandemic becoming more of a problem once again. Whether or not it's the same situation we've been dealing with for a year or not, whether or not it's all true or all fake or anything like that, doesn't make a difference. The implications of it, the lockdowns, the restrictions, the mandates, the economy, and everything else related to it is still possibly going to be victimized by it once again. So keep in mind that these things are all already occurring or have occurred or have already shown us examples of happening in 2021, which means the propensity for SHTF to actually occur or be a reality is getting more and more likely every single day. So do what you can to prepare as best you can, and do what you can now to be more self-reliant if possible. We made the move, we made some sacrifices and had to do a lot of different changes when it comes to our lives and what it is we can expect from our ability to generate income and our ability to be on our own in a private environment and have land and own a home. But it wasn't easy, and it was a very difficult path to get to this point. It took some serious sacrifice. Not many people wake up on their 16th birthday and say, one day I can't wait to live in North Dakota. But here we are now, and we're in a much better position than we've ever been at in any other point in our life. So keep that in mind, because just because it's not your dream come true doesn't mean it's a bad situation. In fact, it might be the best one you've ever asked for. And if you have anything else to add about how you can be more self-reliant and how 2021 is accelerating towards SHTF very quickly, almost every day it seems, then leave it in the comments below. We got to keep talking about these things, and if we don't overview some of these examples from time to time, we're going to find ourselves forgetting what happened, and then we're going to have history repeat itself and cause another problem once again. So without anything else to say about how we are in the acceleration right now and that we need to do our best to keep preparing, that's going to be it for Magic Prep.